like a lot of things change in smartphones, and they've not changed like from yesterday to today, but over like decades and decades of innovation. So we're going to be looking at 8 smartphone trends that actually changed smartphones forever. So roll in the intro. So starting off with number 8, we've got the NFC chip. So NFC stands for Near Field Communication. So the NFC chip is something really subtle, but it's a big lifesaver. And NFC is used everywhere from making payments to even using your headphones. Yes, using your headphones. So you know, like a lot of new headphones have had this feature called Instant Pair, where like you just open it and it already connects with your phone. So that happens because of the NFC chip, and you might have seen this logo on the headphones or even your phone. So that signifies that you have NFC built into your phone and that you can actually do that. So therefore, like there's instant pair. So NFC is like a big life changer. It's used for everything from payments to your headphones. So now you know what NFC is, and that's what changed the trend. Number 7 is personal assistants. The personal assistants in the sense of Google and Siri. Now, these became like really popular and were first introduced into the iPhone 4S. Yes, Siri was back then just an app on the App Store, but then like Apple acquired the company, so that's the story. But the thing is that these were like a game changer at that point, because like people didn't really think that this soon they would have personal assistants on their phones. But it wasn't like the ballingest thing at that time. So keep in mind that we have come like a really long way from what was crummy, I might be helpful, to today I know everything, I know better than you. So know that in mind. Number 6. So number 6 is kind of like something that just grew on because of companies' aggressive marketing into becoming thin phones. So number 6 is the camera bump. And this actually like slowly grew into the trend, mostly because like companies were so focused on like making their phones slim, but at the same time like they didn't want to lose features. And after somebody had durability problems, they had to make sure that they were making it thin, but not too thin, but they have to like show on the specs that this is thinner than our last model. So what did they do? They just created a new camera protrusion, but actually created a really ugly place. But in some cases it was really good. Some places like it was really bad when it rocked on the table. And some were just outrageous. So camera bumps are something that came on to the industry like slowly, but it took a big haul when companies actually wanted to put in more lenses into the camera modules. So there's that. So you know, like a lot of companies nowadays like show that our phones are dust proof or our phones are waterproof. How do they really show it? They show it with IP ratings. So IP means ingress protection, and that means like you have some kind of like standard on your phone which is actually like resistant to this much of wear and tear from like water or dust or whatever. And that's why hence you got the name IP68, IP67. So if you take IP68 for example, IP is just ingress protection, the 6 actually stands for dust resistance, and the 8 stands for water resistance. So you got your answer. So after the trend of having thin phones passed away, we had the biggest race of all time, having the most screen to body ratio, and that's still a big thing today, and hence the birth of notches. So notches are like that small cutouts on your screen to accommodate a selfie camera, an earpiece, and all of that, just so that you get more space, but at the same time like it's kind of looking weird on the top. And iPhones are really famous for that. So notches actually came on like really quick around like 2016 when like the Xiaomi phones actually started experimenting, and Apple just took that to a whole nother level, especially on the iPhone 12 mini in 2020. But the good news is that notches is actually quickly disappearing. Companies like Samsung are also experimenting with the in-display cameras, so that should actually give us hope for a better future. Now, as in you see like a lot of camera modules on the high-end phones, especially the ones that cost around like $700 and $1,000. One of the best things about them is that they have really better ultra-wide angle lens compared to the lower ones. And the concept of having an ultra-wide lens actually came into form when, guessed it, LG gave birth to it. So with the birth of the LG G5, LG did not just give birth to like these weird modules which you could actually attach your battery and attach your down part to, but also the fact that you had a dedicated ultra-wide angle lens. Now, keep in mind that you cannot fit something like this kind of a zoom lens into your phone, and that would actually cause durability issues as well as some bugs and, you know, software problems. So in order to actually like change different focal lengths, LG was the first person to actually innovate into like having two separate sensors having fixed focal lengths. And so like therefore you don't have to like change between front and fourth, but rather just two cameras that are already there. When LG came out with it, it was kind of half-baked, but the other manufacturers actually like really streamlined it, and guess what? You can buy a flagship phone without an ultra-wide lens today. So users go to a random stranger and grab their phone and just start scrolling to realize that, wow, that feels buttery smooth. And that's not because of the processing, that's because of the display. So high refresh rate displays became an actual thing when Razer actually brought it back into the smartphone game. So the Razer phone actually like introduced high refresh rates and actually gave people the feeling and the vibe of having a buttery smooth display. And guess what? Since then, many companies, excluding Apple on the iPhones, have actually like had high refresh rate displays as a standard. And it really gives us the good feeling, and you cannot buy a high-end phone without this kind of high refresh rate. Number one. So the number one major industry trend is multi-touch. I can definitely say today that nobody in this world using a smartphone cannot live without multi-touch. So the multi-touch concept was actually introduced with the first iPhone, and don't actually like mistake that for the touch interface itself. So the touch interface is pretty general. You use a finger to point at what you want, and then you touch it and it works as it should be, right? But multi-touch is when you use like two or more fingers to actually interact with that device, and that's how you actually like zoom in and zoom out, and then you go home and then like you swipe up for gestures and all of that. And I'm pretty sure that none of you guys can actually live without multi-touch. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys might have known like what came from where and some unrecognized products, like for example you've got NFC, and I hope this video was useful. So thank you guys for watching this video. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Until then, this is yours truly, Shreyas Kalyan.